It's March, and that means March Madness. And we're not talking about basketball. You could have a bracket to help your favorite charity. Hello everybody, I'm Mark Thomas, and you found Uniquely Bristol. This is the show that looks at the small town values and hidden gems of Bristol, Connecticut. It's brought to you by the Bristol Development Authority, the BDA, and shown every month on Nutmeg Television. We're in the big, beautiful Bristol Boys and Girls Club, which is a safe haven for kids of all ages to live and play. Located on West Street in downtown Bristol, every afternoon hundreds of kids come to learn and play at the Bristol Boys and Girls Club. Marketing Director Sarah Lucian says the club has been a staple in Bristol for many generations. Sarah, it is a gorgeous building, built in 2014, but there's quite a history to the Bristol Boys and Girls Club, isn't it?
There is. You know, we opened this building in 2014, but our organization has been around for over 110 years. So back in 1907, community leaders thought it was really important for boys to have a place to go to play athletics, you know, learn leadership skills, make friends. So that's how the Boys and Girls Club all really got started. And then in 1990, they decided to let girls in. And in 2014 is when we opened this beautiful facility. And so not only do we have this main clubhouse, but we also serve kids in 8 school-based clubhouses in Bristol and 1 in Burlington. And then we also have Bristol Future Champions Gymnastics down the road. We oversee Imagination, which is at a museum early learning center.
We featured that a couple of months ago. It's a great place.
Yes, fantastic. And then our last clubhouse, which is really special to me, is located in public housing. It's our Cambridge Park Clubhouse.
So there's a lot of different ages now. Imagination is kind of for the younger kids. What are the age groups of kids here, and what kind of activities are here?
Yeah, so we actually, our youngest member is 6 months old, and our oldest member is actually 92. So we're pretty unique, and that's because over at Imagination we have a preschool infant toddler program, and the 92-year-old member is part of our Older Members Association, which is a group of guys who have been, who grew up in the club and now they give back selflessly. But the majority of our members are ages 6 to 18.
Let's talk about the really important stuff. I mean, we're in March. A lot of people are talking about brackets. When we're talking about the Bristol Boys and Girls Club, brackets and the battle of the brackets means something kind of completely different. You did great last year. Why don't you give us an overview about what that is and what's coming up?
Yeah, so brackets were good. We were in last year and we applied and we got in this year too, and we're really excited because so what it is, it's similar to the NCAA college basketball tournament, and so how it works is our club is going to be paired up against local nonprofits in a donation competition. And we advance, you know, over the weeks, and at the end of the tournament, if we make it to the championship round, we have the chance to win $10,000.
Okay, so this is the main area, and there's a lot of activities we've talked about in here, but there's a lot of other things going on in the club. Why don't you go over some of those?
All of our programs are driven by our mission, right, which is really to inspire and enable all young people, especially the ones that need us the most, to realize their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens, right? And all of our programs are really measured by our 3 priority outcomes, which are academic success, healthy lifestyles, and good character and citizenship.
One of the hot attractions of the club is where kids can learn and actually program robots. DeAndre Esposito loves watching kids awaken to this technology. DeAndre, this has got to be one of the coolest rooms in the building. Now, you just got a STEM certification from Endicott College. Tell us how that applies to this, and then tell us all the cool stuff that's going on in here.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to go to Endicott. It was about a 6-month course. It specialized in project-based learning, really for teachers that want to put more STEM usage in their classrooms. You could be in pretty much any subject area. We had English teachers, we had science teachers, social studies, just to bring STEM more inside the classroom. Project-based learning, robotics, CAD, anything science-backed that we kind of covered, and we're able to bring it here and do new programs with the kids.
We're surrounded by computers. We've got some little robots and everything. So how is this room used by the kids that come in here?
Yeah. So for each quarter, we split our year up into 4 quarters: summer, fall, spring, and winter. And we're able to run 3 different programs throughout the year. Right now, we do a Scratch program. We do a full-year robotics unit. We do VEX, and we also do Lego. And then we do an engineering program. We did a CAD program, which we used a 3D printer, and the children used the computers to create 3D models. So we're pretty broad. We try to touch every aspect of STEM.
It's got to be cool for you that when you see a youngster, you see the light bulbs go off. I'm sure you've had that happen a couple of times.
Yeah, we've had a couple instances where kids come in and they're not exposed to anything STEM. And that's really at the end goal of what we want to do. We want to expose kids to new career paths, want to expose kids to new interests. And we've had kids who, they've come in and they've never been exposed to it. They're exposed and now they go to Bristol Tech, or they're looking into a manufacturing career. And really that's what we're here for, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. So it's a great feeling.
President and CEO Michael Suchapar says recognition is also critical to these kids.
Well, to put it into perspective for you, there are about 4,500,000 kids in Boys and Girls Clubs throughout the country. There are about 4,000 clubs. So the people that get chosen as Youth of the Year really represent the absolute cream of the crop. Our 4 kids this year that are all vying for it are outstanding human beings. They represent kindness of heart, intelligence in mind, strength in body. They're what we strive to achieve for all kids. They have achieved it. There are outstanding role models, and I'm proud of each and every one of them. They're gifted, beautiful human beings.
One of my favorite memories of coming to the Boys and Girls Club was actually the first time I was introduced to the Boys and Girls Club, because everyone was so open and friendly. I can feel comfortable with being myself, and I used to also be shy, and that also changed when I headed here.
Well, I'm attending a technical school, so the career I'm pursuing is HVAC, so hopefully I plan to go to school for business management and open up my own HVAC company soon.
I've learned to be really appreciative of the things I have, the people I have around me, and just everything in general. And the impact that it's had on me is that I'm very more appreciative of everything.
The range of personalities that attend the club really helped strengthen my personality. I was a shy kid coming into the club, and it really helped me bring myself out, and it helped me really achieve my goals.
Welcome to Bristol. Nestled in the heart of Connecticut, just 2 hours from Boston, New York, and an hour from the shoreline, Bristol offers a unique New England experience.
City-sized with small-town vibe, you'll fit in no matter your pace.
As a community, we're rich with history, overflowing with passion, and ripe with experiences to enjoy. Beyond the rolling hills of Connecticut, that's where you'll find the magic of Bristol.
With an incredible 700-plus acres of park systems,
inspiring museums and cultural programs,
and the oldest operating amusement park in North America.
Our arts and entertainment will color you convinced.
And local food and drink establishments to keep you excited, satisfied, and always savoring more.
Community events that leave a lasting memory.
We really do have it all.
Plus, we're a community that honors the brave.
A community that offers top-tier sports and recreation.
And world-class accommodations to suit every style.
But what if you wanted to stay even longer?
Well, there's neighborhoods to pair with any personality.
And places for all kinds of producers.
Top-rated school systems.
Ways to make an impact.
And plenty of places to worship. So whether you're vacationing,
passing through,
or staying a little longer,
bring your heart to Bristol. Our heart is always open to your experiences. Bristol, Connecticut.
All heart.
Every Everyone knows that if you're going to sell your house, spring is the optimum time to do it. Bristol resident Lisa Gillette with Keller Williams has been a real estate agent for over 16 years and a top seller in Connecticut, and she gives some tips on how to select an agent. Lisa, I am sure that you work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and I know they have to ask you, why should I buy instead of continuing to rent?
For some people, renting works. They're not quite sure they're going to stay in the area. Their job might be up in the air. I get that. But most of the time when I get that question, I also want to let them know that you're paying somebody else's mortgage off. Let's pay your own. That's a little investment for you. That's a little savings account every time you pay that mortgage. To get into a property these days, you could need up to about $5,000 just to get into a rent. I just wrote a rental contract the other day, $5,400 up front. That could be a down payment on a first-time home buyer.
And there are some tax benefits as well.
Tax benefits, you get to write that interest off. You have an investment now, and it pays off. It definitely pays off.
Okay, so you've made the decision that you're now going to sell your house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are some of the questions that they should ask a realtor? Because there's a ton of them out there.
There's a ton of them out there. You want to ask a realtor what value they're going to give to them as the homeowners. What are we going to do for you to get your house sold in a reasonable amount of time for the best value that we can? I work with sellers all the time. I have my systems in place where I'm going to do a very detailed market analysis. I'm going to share with them homes that have closed recently within a certain radius of their home. Sometimes we have to go out further. Sometimes we have to go back farther as far as when homes have closed. We want to kind of compare it to their square footage, their bedrooms, their conditions. They don't always love those numbers when we give them that. Everybody wants to get a whole mess of money for their properties, but in reality, we have to be realistic with the market price. So they're going to ask that realtor how they come up with that. What are their marketing strategies? How long do I think the house is going to be on the market for? That's a tough one. I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't always be on the money, but as far as when it can sell, but it's all about how we present that home to the buyers that are out there.
Take us through the process from start to finish about, what somebody who's selling their house can expect.
Sure. When I have someone that has said, yes, we've chosen you, we want you to sell our house, great, awesome, I know I'm going to do a great job for them, but I have a list of what we're going to do first to get that home on the market and to get it ready to sell. I often recommend, I don't require it, but I do recommend in my business a pre-listing home inspection. Just for your own knowledge, we don't have any surprises later on down the road. It pays for itself because there could be some fixes that your relative might be an electrician and they can fix an outlet if we have something that might be, in the way there. It's a great tool. It again will get that process going in a much smoother manner. We do an awesome marketing value for the clients when they do decide, yes, we want to pick you and let's get it going. We will have a stager go out to stage the property. We have about 30 seconds to capture that buyer when they walk through the door. If we lose them before that, or after that, then we might literally lose them, and we don't want that to happen. So we want the appearance of the home to be neat and tidy. We're moving anyways. I always tell my clients, get rid of some stuff. Everybody has tons of stuff. And yet at the same time, I let them know they still have to live in the house and be comfortable.
We always hear about curb appeal. Mm-hmm. What goes into curb appeal?
My thoughts for curb appeal is some color. I know it's hard right now with the dreary winter months, so maybe we throw a fancy wreath with a little bit of color on the front door, or we paint the front door a different color. Might not be, something that home, that seller would actually think, I really want to paint my door, a vibrant color, but it gives us some color in the winter months. Keep everything picked up outside. I can't stand when garbage cans are out front. Let's move them to the back. It's important.
Yeah, so let's shift gears a little bit. Now you've sold your house and now you want to buy. So that agent's pretty critical then. When you're walking through a tour of a house that you're thinking about buying, mm-hmm. what should you be looking for and what should homeowners be asking questions about?
They need to ask the important questions, the biggies, because a home is expensive. It's a huge investment. We want to know about some of the structure of the properties. We want to know roofs, windows, furnaces, how our fireplaces are. Those are some of the biggies that I look for with my buyers. I've been in construction throughout all of my real estate career, so it helps me do that too. But I like to have my buyers see those things. I also point out some things with my buyers that I think are so important. When we're walking through a property, which kind of brings you back to the staging discussion, we're husband and wife or couple or a bunch of friends buying a property together. If they have to go through home, rooms single file, that's going to turn them off. They're not going to want to. So that goes back to our staging thing. But I point that out to my buyer. If we can't fit through this or that, it might be a little tight for you guys. I don't want them to buy this house and have to sell it in a year. I want them to live in it and enjoy it and go through that process. This is a big investment.
Now, you've mentioned staging a couple of times. What is the advantage of having a stager?
Having a stager, it helps that buyer to envision themselves in that property and where our furniture is placed and a little bit of the decor without possibly having 10 photos of the family, which I get that. We all love to have pictures of our family up in a house. What happens with things like that is that buyer walks in the house and they're looking on the wall and they're going, did I go to school with them? And then they forget if there was hardwood floors. They forget if there was a new replacement window in the front. So part of the staging process, that's one of the benefits when you're walking into a home, is we tend to declutter. Declutter, so they're not looking at your stuff, they're looking at your home. And they know what it's going to be like to put their couch on this wall, instead of a massive entertainment system that might be a little overpowering.
If anyone knows staging a house, it's Nancy Aquilar.
Staging is actually a marketing tool. It's used in real estate, and what it does is it allows a potential buyer to see how the house can be used. 10% of the American public can walk into a house and see their furniture in a house, can see how a room is set up. So myself as a stager does that for them, basically. Very often when somebody buys a house, they will set a room up exactly the way it was staged. And that's basically because they don't know what to do with it. What it entails is, first and foremost, I meet with a client, whether it be through a realtor or my own private clients. I have a website, they call me, and I will do a walkthrough. It starts at the front door. I heard you talk to Lisa about curb appeal. That's also part of my job. In the summertime, we make sure that there's flowers at the front door. We make sure there's color at the front door, as Lisa said. And then it goes through the house. However, I'm using my eyes as a buyer would. So I'm totally going to be brutally honest with a homeowner.
I bet that gets a little touchy, doesn't it?
Well, after 10 years of doing it, you learn to do it with a smile. Okay. Right. I had one client who the first thing you saw when you walked through the door was a bubblegum pink dining room. Okay. Needless to say, I had to say to her, my suggestion would be that this room be painted. Okay. And after we went round robin with it, and I explained to her that this is the first thing that somebody sees when they walk through the door. You see it as, I love this room. I painstakingly picked out the paint. I love this room. They look at it and say, I have to paint this room. This is work I have to do. And in today's society, people don't like to do work. They like to move their furniture in and start living in their house, basically because they're all really way too busy. Okay?
And it's a long process.
And it's a long process. And for a lot of people, they want that process to be immediate. Okay? They don't want to do one room at a time because they really honestly just don't have the time to do one room at a time. So the more that we can do to alleviate that, the better off we are. When somebody walks into a house and it's just the way it should be, those people put these properties really high on the list. They've already looked at it in the internet. They have done 98% of people do their search on the internet. So they've actually fallen in love with this property before they ever walk through the door. It's my job as a stager to make sure that that continues.
You mentioned a really important thing. You bring in the stager, but now somebody could want to see that house at any time and open houses. How do you live while you're trying to sell that house?
It's tough. You do live very neatly. You put those toothbrushes under the cabinet. You don't leave them on the counter anymore. It's not easy. And again, and that's one of the things I always mention when we are listing it. I give them their laundry list as well as the stager does the same thing, but I still stress, and I think it's important, you still have to live in your home and be comfortable in it. But you do have to tidy it up. And as an agent, I have literally gone and made beds for people that have forgotten to make their beds when they have a showing. So make your beds, keep everything neat and clean, counters clean, no dishes in the sink, pick up your towels.
And the mainstay really still is an open house, isn't it?
Open houses are great. I think they're great. You know, it gives people a chance to, it's a great advertisement.
Sure.
It's all over the place. It's social media blasted when we do open houses. I do cookout open houses. In the summertime, you're going to get a hot dog out back. I'm cooking you some lunch. I've done it many times. Keeps people around. Now they're feeling like they live here. They're getting that feel. They're sticking around. You feed them and they stay a little bit longer. Okay?
And ask more questions.
That's right. So open houses are very important. How you do your open house is very, very important. And I do love doing what I do with my open houses. You have conversations. The next day they all go to work. We've already social media blasted it, but now they're going to work the next day. Hey, what'd you do this weekend? They're also now advertising my open house for me a day later.
Now here we are in March. It really kind of starts, I guess, you know, in the next month or two. So this is really the time to start getting your house ready and making that decision.
It's almost beyond. Yeah, we're into the, to me, we're in the spring market. Typically as a realtor, I've always thought that the spring market starts the Monday after Super Bowl Sunday. If you think of how long your house, you know, a couple months on the market, couple months to close, we're already mid-March. You know, we're getting up to mid-March at that point when you take that time frame. So this is the time. When the grass turns green, those buyers are out there and they're everywhere. Right now is a great time. Right now is a great time to list. Our inventory is low. Get it on the market now. Not a lot to pick from.
So that was my next question. The market is pretty good. I know it's a little volatile on interest rates, but you kind of got to say this is a long-term investment and pull the trigger.
It absolutely is. Interest rates might be sneaking up a smidge. I bought my first house at 13% many years ago.
Right.
Guess what, guys? 4 or 5% isn't going to hurt. It's going to be okay.
Right.
Prices of houses are still great too. Do it now. Do it while we have, as of right now, we have a low inventory. You put your house on the market now, it's not a lot to pick from. We're going to get it sold. You put it on when we're real busy, it might take a smidge because there's a lot more to look for and look at.
There's no doubt maybe one of the most major decisions you make in your life is selling your house, but it also means a great new beginning. But that's the end for us this month. Thank you so much for joining us. Have you got a story idea or maybe a comment? Our email address is marketing@bristolct.gov. Want to know more about Bristol? The website is www.bristolallheart.com. And of course, we're on social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So good luck with selling your house, good luck with your brackets, and we'll see you next month.